Hey everybody, it's Sam with Wrestling Overtime, and I wanted to bring you a quick news and updates for April 12th, 2020. Happy Easter, everybody. I know that a lot of you this Sunday are already have been up, maybe going to sunrise service or watching something on Facebook or anything like that, but I just wanted to wish you all a happy Easter, and hopefully the Easter Bunny visited you. But I want to get you guys up to date on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling. Sorry that I've been out of commission with losing my internet, losing my satellite, and also losing my TV. If you didn't get to hear that story, then you want to go to the episode that says Wrestling Overtime Apology. Lightning hit, and I lost all three and have been scrambling ever since. So I am making up podcast episodes for you guys. But I want to make sure that you guys on this Sunday are up to date on any news and updates and that you haven't missed anything. Of course, I want to start out that on this past Thursday, Goldberg was on the latest CarCast podcast. I don't regularly listen to this, but it was reported in several different news websites, one of which being Wrestling Incorporated. He talked about how Roman Reigns was extremely sorry about missing the WrestleMania 36 match and how they went ahead and taped the match with Braun Strowman. But WWE was scrambling up to the last minute to try to see if Roman Reigns, if there was any way that they could get doctors and Roman Reigns to sign off on him still doing the match. He said that that was one of the reasons why Braun Strowman wasn't really officially announced as his opponent until almost the last minute, was because they were still trying to get the Goldberg Roman Reigns match for everybody for WrestleMania 36. Also on this podcast, again, it's called CarCast. Goldberg said that WrestleMania 36 was his final WWE commitment for this year unless they went into discussions for any more commitments. So Goldberg is done for the rest of the year unless WWE approaches him with some kind of deal. WWE also announced on Thursday the immediate release of the Revival. Now, as most of us knew and kind of waiting for, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, the Revival, their contracts were supposed to be up sometime in April. It was suspected that it was late April. However, they tacked on more time to Scott Dawson, and he wasn't actually supposed to be released until mid-June. However, WWE did not want to keep them on contracts. Dash Wilder actually did an interview, I believe it was last week or week before, talking about how they had not been paid in 6 weeks and how this was unacceptable and everything. So I think instead of getting bad press, WWE knew there was no way they were going to sign, and this was just getting them a lot of bad publicity. So what WWE did was give them their immediate release, and they are under no 90-day no compete clause. So they can start anywhere immediately. Now, of course, we all know that this is a little bit of an issue because most indie promotions aren't running at this time due to, number one, travel bans, but also bans on having more than 10 people around. Some states are even in like a lockdown mode where you're only allowed out if you're an essential employee, or if you're like going to the store or an emergency or something like that. So it's going to be hard for Dawson and Wilder to find someplace to go unless they go to AEW. Now that, of course, has been the rumor for probably over a year now. Remember, Dash Wilder put out a tweet in 2018 that he and his buddy would be seeing the Young Bucks somewhere in the future. So look for them to possibly go to AEW. Now, in the meantime, the Revival, after the release was announced in a statement by WWE, and it was official, the Revival then announced their new names. Dash Wilder is going to be Cash Wheeler, and Scott Dawson is going to be Dax Hardwood, which is both of their real last names. They're just taking kayfabe first names. They also have filed and now own the trademarks to both of those names, and they own the trademarks to No Flips, Just Fists, which is them going up against, of course, the Young Bucks, who do the flips while the Revival uses their fists. They also own the trademarks to Say Yeah, Top Guys, and the Shatter Machine. It is my understanding from reading a lot of different websites, the Shatter Machine is going to be their finisher. And then I wanted to make sure that all of you guys know they have a new shirt up at Pro Wrestling Tees already, and it says FTR. And then it says Farewell the Revival, and it has pictures of Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson kind of fading away. So interesting shirt. It's pretty cool. You guys need to check it out. Then WWE NXT announced that they would be holding a tournament for an interim NXT Cruiserweight champion, since Jordan Devlin cannot get back in the United States right now due to the travel ban. Now, when Jordan Devlin was reached for comment, he said that he thought this decision was shocking and very disrespectful. He can't believe that NXT would crown a fraud champion with a replica title. And he looks forward to when he comes back over to the United States after the travel ban to face this person, whoever it turns out to be, and show them who the real champion is. Now, NXT, of course, also on Thursday said that they would have the tournament, and they gave the specifications for the tournament. It's going to be 8 superstars who are supposed to be announced at the beginning of this week. I'll look for it on Monday or Tuesday. And then we'll definitely find out on Wednesday night's NXT show. But there's supposed to be 8 superstars. They're going to be split in 2 groups of 4. Each one will compete against the other 3 members of their group. The one with the best record will advance. Any ties will be broken by their head-to-head record. And the winner of Group A will face the winner of Group B for the Cruiserweight Championship. So no word when this is actually going to begin, though. I hadn't been able to find that out. Tony Khan did put out a tweet and a statement talking about the AEW card for this coming Wednesday, which would be April 15th. It's going to be Sammy Guevara versus Sugar D, Superbad, Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford versus Chuck Taylor with Trent and Orange Cassidy. Britt Baker's going to be in action. Shawn Spears is going to be in action. And then we're going to have another quarterfinals match for the TNT Championship Tournament. And it's going to be Lance Archer versus Colt Cabana. And then, of course, we're going to be having the empty arena, no holds bar AEW Championship match between Jon Moxley and Jake Hager. I think that is going to be one heck of a match, and I bet it gets brutal. Now, Chris Jericho last night, which was Saturday night, he is having, if you don't know, on his Facebook page, he is having a Saturday night, basically Facebook party. And sometimes he has guests, sometimes he just answers fans' questions and everything. He did announce that he would be on commentary again this coming Wednesday, which will be April the 15th, and that he had a blast doing commentary this past week on April 8th show, and he really tried to bring a lot of energy, especially heel energy, just like Bobby the Brain Heenan did and Jesse the Body Ventura. He said that he really wanted to channel them and bring their spirits back and how they announced back. One fan wrote into him and he answered the question. He said, would you consider doing commentary after you retire? And Jericho's comment was absolutely. He said that doing 1 or 2 hours of commentary was hard, that you did have to kind of prepare for it, and some of it was off the cuff, but that you had to be able to play off of each other. But he said he had a blast doing it. Of course, I'm sure that some of you have heard about Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was on Steve-O's from Jackass. He has a new podcast out called The Wild Ride. Now, I've only listened to the first episode. I actually have not listened to the episode that Ronda Rousey's on. It's actually a pretty funny podcast, and it's typical Steve-O. It's pretty lighthearted and very funny, but he interviewed Ronda Rousey, and I believe it's on episode 3, and she made a comment that I'm not 100% sure was really how a lot of people took it. She talked about how wrestling now is doing fake fights for fun. And fans went wild. And I really want to listen to this podcast and see if it was taken out of context or anything like that. Well, Nia Jax jumped all over it. If any of you were following her on Twitter, she needed to get in on it because everybody saw her come back on Raw this week. She debuted after her double knee surgery and being out almost a year. Nia had to basically state that she was gonna knock Ronda out for real, even if it meant risking her job. And I just think that definitely has to be a work. I can't see her being so upset about Ronda's comment of fake fights for fun that she would jeopardize her job. I also know that she hit Becky Lynch pretty hard, but I don't know that she'll knock Ronda Rousey out. And then I think she'll piss Ronda Rousey off, and Ronda might go for real on her, and I don't think she'll like that. But anyway, Ronda Rousey, late last night, which was Saturday night, responded to the fans by saying you cannot compare real fighting, such as MMA or UFC fighting, to pro wrestlers. That yes, pro wrestlers work, anywhere from 250 to 300 nights out of a year. And UFC or MMA, real fighters don't work that. But by comparing them, you are actually demeaning the real fighters that go in and risk injury, risk, even death. There have been MMA fights that have ended in death. And then she said, I know that pro wrestlers from wrestling 300 nights a year for many years end up injured. And I know that if moves are not done correctly, that injuries do happen. But she said wrestlers wrestle 300 nights a year and are usually pretty okay. If you are in 300 real fights in a year, like in MMA, you would be dead. Well, fans, I don't know what to say. I kind of agree with her. Pro wrestling does try to take as many safeguards as they possibly can with how the ring is set up, how the barricades are, different things like that. Do real injuries happen? Yes. Look at Paige. She's 27 years old and has had 2 neck surgeries and can't ever wrestle again. She's basically only been around, for 5 or 6 years. So, yes, real injuries do happen. Real things that you think you have gimmicked, for lack of a better word, sometimes don't work. Look at Shawn Spears last year hitting Cody with a chair and just caught him a half inch the wrong way and busted him open where he had to have 10 staples. So, I understand what she's saying, but I also understand that there are real injuries in pro wrestling. Next story, I thought was a little amusing. I love when JR kind of pokes fun at the WWE. If any of you want to hear him really poking fun at the WWE, go back. I am listening to his first podcast. It's called The Ross Report. It starts in, I think, 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. I've listened to about 30 episodes so far, and it's right after he got let go by the WWE, and he pulls no punches, and it's pretty funny. But Jim Ross recently said that the WWE didn't know what they were doing. That by inserting Matt Hardy into the Edge and Randy Orton feud, they got Matt Hardy white hot. They got him more over with the fans than he had been in the previous 6 months to a year. Vince actually thought that by putting him in the middle of Edge and Randy Orton's feud, that it would make the fans bury him and hate him. But that didn't work because they didn't rate it right in the WWE. They did not get how the fans were going to eat that feud up, and absolutely loved Matt Hardy going out and basically standing up for Edge and letting Randy Orton beat him down. And by beating him down, got him over with the fans. JR said, he came to AEW as hot as he had been in years. So, boy, WWE did screw that one up. And then, of course, I want to end with our last news story that broke yesterday. There had been rumors of it for, I don't know, about a week and a half on the internet. If you go to Reddit, there are certain sites you can go into where there are some insiders who are really trying to keep, their status unknown. But they had been saying that there was a positive coronavirus case in the WWE. Turns out that yesterday, WWE actually did release a statement to Pro Wrestling Sheet that said an on-screen person in the company, but not on the roster, tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, they, of course, did not release any names. Now, a lot of fans have been throwing out names. I'm not going to do that. If it gets released, of course, I will throw it in on news and updates, and you guys will be the first to know. But what they went ahead and did say was this person worked the tapings of WrestleMania 36 and the Raw after WrestleMania. They went out the night the tapings ended, met two of their friends who work in the medical field for dinner. Sat down, I guess, talked, had a leisurely dinner, and then a couple days later came down with symptoms, was tested, and tested positive for the coronavirus. Since then, because WWE taped beforehand, they have self-quarantined, and now the person was cleared of the virus and is feeling tremendously better, but they did not work Friday night's SmackDown, and they did not release whether this person would work this coming week. So it's kind of a wait and see, or we'll figure it out or something later. But this person did not work Friday night SmackDown, but they have now been cleared, been tested, and are showing no symptoms and are feeling better. So since they are said to be an on-screen person in the company, I'm thinking they may return sooner rather than later. But that is your news and updates for this morning. I'm taping this at, looks like it's 8:50 right now. So that's your news and updates as of right now. If anything breaks today, then I will try to get you another news and updates out later today. If not, expect a news and updates probably tomorrow before Raw, trying to get you guys all filled in and get you ready for Monday Night Raw. Of course, hopefully everything will be set up and I will get to watch Raw live on my brand new TV with my brand new internet and my brand new satellite TV, and I will get you a WWE results show, Raw results show out first thing tomorrow after the show is over. And then of course you will get the normal raves and rants review of Raw, hopefully early Tuesday morning, so that you can listen to it throughout the day or whenever you feel comfortable and have the time to do it. Now, as always, if you guys have any questions, comments, problems, or protests, feel free to write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com. And don't be afraid to hit us up on Twitter or on Facebook on Wrestling Overtime on our page. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through my internet and satellite TV debacle. And I hope that you guys have a happy Easter. And I will be talking to you guys soon.